Liberate your imagination. Liberate your imagination. Liberate your imagination. Liberate your imagination. Hey!
A radio expert said, talk to one person. Hi, you over there. This is another episode of the Ellipsis podcast where essentially we interrogate the past while in the present. And most importantly, we try to imaginate. That's a word we made. Imaginate a future, because I think the future that we want is in the solutions that we are brave and courageous enough to create. And I think there is really a shortage of courage to create a very inclusive and forward-thinking future. And that's why we are in this mess that we're in right now. Kushubile. And today we're with a fellow, guys, like Twitter. And I'm going to call it Twitter because I didn't meet these people on X. I met this particular person on Twitter through a makeup challenge. Shout out for an OG. Hi, Huli.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing, my dove?
I'm all right, Daisy. I'm all right, despite and in spite of what's happening in the world right now. I am doing really well, and I'm looking forward to our conversation. So today we will be talking about body positivity and how we needed to come the hell back. Because what the hell?
What the hell?
So before we get into my hot take, I want Huli to introduce who. I don't ask about your pronouns.
She, her?
She, her. Safety. So who you are, and yeah.
All right. So I'm Hulisani, Huli. If you follow me in any social media, it's just usually Hulis and then whatever that page is about. So Huli. I've just passed my youth, so I'm turning 36 this year.
Who would have thought?
I'm turning 36 this year, so I'm no longer a youth. So I am a middle-aged woman. A middle-aged woman who has been on a multitude of different lifetimes. And yeah, I'm currently presenting as a fat black femme. And that is how I currently look, in case you obviously can't see me or you don't follow me. And I am very interested in body positivity, inclusion in general. I work in the social justice space, broadly speaking. And yeah, that's a bit about me. I think it'll come up while we're busy talking a little bit more about who I am. Yeah.
I love that. I love that you are past youth. Because we followed each other for so long. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I love the I know you, but I don't know you
100%.
Vibe of social media. And one of the things that caught my eye about Huli is that we also met at a time when I was exploring my sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved hearing about your love stories. Like, that was my favorite thing. And you have made, I think I'm going off topic a little bit, but I have to give you your flowers. You make love and different kinds of relationships look so feasible. Mm-hmm. I wish I had your courage to just live your truth in that way when it comes to polyamory and all of that. But to come to the talk of the day, the business of the day, and body positivity, I have my hot take. What is a podcast without a hot take?
Yes.
You know? And I, as the host, will come with the hot takes because I don't want to put my guests in that spot. But if you have your own hot takes, you can play along. But essentially, I just think we hate our bodies. That's like my big hot take. I think society breeds a hate for bodies. Whether you are six-packed up, whether you are thin, whether you are fat, whether you are fit, as South Africans say, I just think that we breed a hate for a person's body. that time, this is the only shell you have for a lifetime. However long your lifetime is, especially now when we're in this body of, or in this time of looks maxing, and how can I look better, and what do they call it? Hey, I forgot it. I forgot what it is. But where you're basically biohacking. Yeah, that's
yes.
it. In this times of biohacking, it's like you are not enough. You need to be better, stronger. You can't just be. And I think that is taking us away from appreciating what we have and just working with it. I've been talking on TikTok about I don't even want to call it a weight loss journey, but yeah, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight, but the ways in which I'm doing it as compared to before, like 2020, baby, that unleashed the fitness bunny in me. I was working out twice a day.
Yes.
But because I had the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, and then last year I ran my first 21K on the 27th of April, and I stopped. I stopped running after that because I had just overstretched myself. I was not patient. I was just like, if we run every day, we're going to make the 21K. And my body was just tired and it gave out. And I had to deal with feelings of guilt, feeling like I'm lazy because why are you not standing up? Why are you not running? Why are you not doing this? And this year, I'm like, actually, we've got a lifetime to do this. So what's the rush? I can lose 3Ks in 3 years. It's fine. Like, it's not that deep because where am I going? But yeah, what do you think? Before I get into the other things, what do you think of my hot take? Am I right? Am I lying? Do you agree? I know I'm right. I'm We're right. Yeah.
You know what? I don't think you're wrong.
That's good for me.
I don't think you're wrong, and I don't know if hate would be the right word that I would use for it, but I think that we've been conditioned to dislike ourselves. I think that would be how I would frame it, right? So social media, friends, society in general, and I mean, we're also part of society, so we can change the narrative, so fine.
Yeah.
But I think that we've been conditioned to dislike the way that we look and have a standard to look forward to. And I mean, that changes over time. And if we're consistently chasing whatever the standard is, we'll always fall short, right? So if we're looking at the 2010s, right? So that was when I was quite young. The early 2000s I was quite young, and that was, the Britney Spears era. We've got Christine, 100%. We've got that drug-induced skinniness, right? The models were really, really tiny on the runway, and that is what was the ideal, right? Then we moved on a little bit towards Beyonce becoming a little bit famous, right? And this is like early in her career, and that curvy look, and then we had like J-Lo,
bootylicious,
and we've got the curves going on there, but still with the ideal of skinny thick, if that's like the right word for slim thick,
is what it's called now.
And so we moved through, and people then wanted that. When we moved into that space where the BBLs were coming in, right? And we can see how the trend has shifted again to, I heard somebody calling it a glip. Is it glip or something? But the weight loss products now are falling under this thing, and we're going back to the early 2000s era again, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that necessarily your hot take is incorrect, that we hate our bodies, but I think if we reframe it to say we've been conditioned because of society and because of how there is a standard that's always placed, usually by the West. Usually by the West, because if we looked inwards, it would be a different standard, but usually by the West, because we're on social media and we see a lot of influence, I think then you would be correct. Yeah.
Well, what's a hot take without a hyperbolic statement? Do you know what I mean? But I think I also placed it in that way because I think when we speak in that way, we are, or in fact, I want people to question, do I hate my body?
Exactly.
Because I don't think we interrogate that enough. I've found that the narrative when talking about my weight loss journey, my journey to love myself, it's so interlinked, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's so dangerous to present stories like, oh, I was fat and I was depressed and that it was the worst time of my life and then I gained weight. Oh, freedom, sunshine.
Yeah.
I love myself now. Because some people are happy with themselves as they are in whatever shape and form that they are in. They're happy with that. And we shouldn't make people, because I think a lot of the time we tell people how to feel about themselves, even when they don't agree. So now it's like, oh, am I wrong? Am I right? What is going on? And of course, the issue of fatness, I think the most poignant figure is Sarah Batman and her coming into the zeitgeist of the Western lens and how that started a conversation around black bodies and what they should and how bodies should look and how black bodies are not the standard. And ew, with your curves and your booty and everything and your, you know,
Your
to
fullness.
your full, hey, abundance.
Yes.
and how she was dehumanized, you know, and demoralized and treated as an objectified, you know, and how that continues to happen to black women today, and especially young black girls, you know. So yeah, and that's our entrance into the body positivity movement, you know. I think I don't want to start from where it began, but I want to know where it began for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have historically always been a big girl. I was a big child. I was a big teenager, and not necessarily very obese or anything. Or so the term being obese, right? And I was just bigger than all of my friends. I was just consistently bigger than all my friends. I was wearing many sizes up, and it was never something that was brought to my attention when I was in primary school. But then when I landed in high school and puberty is hitting and things are, you know, landing where they land and all of that, that is when I started getting a bit bullied for, like, you know, how I look. Didn't quite internalize it a lot in the beginning because I was just like, okay, but this is just how I look. I don't know what you want me to do about this. And I was very active, so I didn't understand why this would be the issue, right? I was on first team hockey as goalkeeper. I was doing house plays. I was an active kid, so it was not because I was not active, right? And during high school, then it had happened. And I think I internalized a lot of that. And then I went to varsity, again, still a very big girl, did a lot more walking. So I lost a little bit of weight, but still on the bigger side, right? And then I finished university and I'm about to get into the workforce. And this is 2015. I was 25 in 2015. And I then I think it was the height of the body positivity movement as well.
Yes,
and
definitely.
I was like, okay, I feel like in South Africa, we're not taking control of that narrative as well. There is no context to South African bodies because it was very American centered, right? And I was like, but where are our stories? And so in 2015, I piloted a project called Body Image Series. And I asked a few of my friends, hey, could you like sit in front of a mirror for like 20 minutes and look at your body without any external interference? Like, don't have your phone on you, be naked if you can, if you're comfortable with that, and just look at your body and everything that anybody has ever said to you and distinguish that from what you've said to yourself and what you actually think about yourself, and whether or not the thoughts that you have that you've thought about yourself are because somebody else had input with regards to that, right? So if somebody said, oh, you're a tall person, and you're looking in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I am a tall person, and this is this is an obvious thing, sure, fine, whatever, it's not offensive to me. But if somebody has said something and it's offensive, have you internalized that thing or have you not? Once you're done, if you're still comfortable, could you write me an article? I'm trying to do this thing. I don't know if it's going to work, and I'm going to post it on this website, and then we'll see if it gets a little bit of traction, to see, because at the end of the day, I just want to document our stories. So I got a few friends to do it. It was intense because some of my friends then just didn't send me anything because they were like, this was a difficult thing and I'm not ready to confront those things about myself. And I was like, you know what? That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to force you to. And then from 2016, I kind of made it more official. I had like a call to whoever wanted to do it because it had already been a bit public. So I did that for a few years. I think I did it until 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And then by then, it had gained traction, right? Not just my page, but in South Africa, the body positivity movement. And I was like, okay, I don't think that my part in this is going to, it needs to continue. So then I kind of stopped. But at the same time, I was also doing articles and doing this. And my life was
busy.
life was overwhelming. And I was like, this is something I can put to the side. And so I had this thing where that is where I started challenging any narratives that I had about my body. And in the beginning, I mean, the wording was body positivity, and you need to be happy with who you are, and you should look at your body and be okay. And I always felt very uncomfortable with the word body positivity because I'm like, but we're not always happy, right? And just because I'm unhappy doesn't mean I hate my body, right?
Yeah.
There could be a dress that I really wanted to wear and I can't find the size, and it made me sad, right? And that is not a defining moment for me. It was a small part of the day that happened. It was sucky. I hated it, but it doesn't, I moved on, right? But to consistently say, oh, you must be happy with your body, just never sat right with me. But I still continued with saying body positivity because at the time, there was no other language that I could use. And so I was very firm in be body positive. I remember saying to my nieces as well that unless somebody can change something in the next 5 seconds that you've mentioned it, it is not something that you need to mention, right? So, I mean, this can go for acne, this can go for, your
Anything.
weight, it can literally go for anything. But if I'm saying your zip is down, right? Your zip is down, you can change that in the next 5 to 10 seconds, and it's not something that should offend you. But the moment it's not something that they can change in a very short period of time, it is not something that you need to be mentioning about people. And I think people are very comfortable making comments about people's bodies. Where I have a mirror. I exist in this
Do you
world.
think I don't see?
I can see.
And I think it's much more about you should be uncomfortable with the fact that I'm uncomfortable with what I see.
100%.
And it's like, how is that? That's a you problem. That's a you problem, baby.
Sounding like you should look at yourself and maybe interrogate what's happening
there.
But yeah, so I think that's where it kind of began for me to really interrogate body positivity, specifically in a South African context. And I think South African context, because I exist and I am South African, I have context to how I exist in this universe, and this is how I exist as a fat person. And I got really interesting stories. Listen, I had at some point when I was rounding off, I even had men engaging with the conversation as well. And so they would also engage. And it's really interesting to read from the male perspective. Because at that time, I think the body positivity movement was very heavy on women, right?
Yeah.
And not also seeing the harms. And I mean, we talk about patriarchy and it harms everybody. And it's not just it harms women thing. And I was really intrigued. So yeah, so the body image series was like my baby, and I really was excited about it. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I got into it. Yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous. And you are touching on something that is very important. We don't need to love our bodies all the time, or not love our bodies all the time, but like you can have negative feelings about your body.
Yeah.
It happens. Sometimes you don't like your hairstyle, you change it.
100%.
That's that's what happens. And I guess that would be then in the territory of body neutrality,
yes,
which is also so important. But I also got to a point where I was like, I understand why body positivity is so important as a political statement, because we are continuously told, especially as Black women, not to like our bodies, not to feel safe in our bodies. because that's just how it literally is. What would you say of the current moment that we're in, especially now where people that were leaders of the body positivity movement have become fat phobic? No, not become. Of course not. It's not become. It's not become.
I hear what you're saying.
It's not become. It's not become. It's, yeah, whatever that is. But there's this girl. She was actually on Big Brother. Her name is Yoli. I'm going to name drop. She is so fat phobic as a girlie that's trying to lose weight herself.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm just like, listen, I've always been in a small body my entire life. But I remember at grade 4 holding skin and being like, hey, I need to do something here. I remember because I also had gotten into modeling and I had a shoot. Oh, no. This is not an alarm for anything. Actually, it's my nap alarm.
I love it for
For
you.
during the week. So I remember as a young girl, literally holding meat because, of course, we'd watch these modeling
600
shows.
pounds, America's Next Top
You
Model.
understand? And these people would hold literally their meat. We need to lose that. I remember, having a shoot and literally going on diet pills. You know? So that, not even diet pills, it was laxatives. You know, so that I could lose the weight fast because, damn, I was not prepared. I remember waking up, like before, when you wake up, when you go to sleep, 20 push-ups. Okay, not push-ups, crunches, this, that, because, hey,
Keep it tight.
keep it tight. Keep it tight. Even though I was an active child.
Yeah.
But I still didn't, or felt like my body was not perfect. Like now, damn, I would die for that body. Okay, actually, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. No, I love where I am. But I guess now that I'm in my journey to lose weight, it's like I had nothing to worry about back then. I actually had nothing to worry about, and it's sad that that was something plaguing my mind to the point that I felt like I couldn't wear crop tops, the stomach out, you know. But also to trauma dump, I actually remember my last stomach out when they were still called stomach outs before crop tops, and I was wearing a stomach out and a short, and I remember my preschool teacher saying I am dressed like a prostitute.
Wild. In a child's body. You're a child. In a child's body, you're a child.
I'm so thankful that I can't remember her name. But that also changes how you see
yourself.
you see yourself and your body, and like, why is she telling me that I look like a prostitute in my favorite outfit? In my favorite outfit. You know? And just how unconfident I was. Like I didn't see this. But back to what I wanted to ask before I lose my train of thought again, is that what do you think it is now that people are so happy with being fat phobic? And actually, it's not just fat phobic, actually. Just okay to comment on people's bodies. Like, oh my God, you're so...
Big.
Your
You
teeth.
gained weight.
You gained weight. Or your teeth, your pimples. You have dry skin. You look old. You look, hey, it's just a lot that I feel like, hey, like, can we relax? Can we respect people? Can we be kind? Because especially on TikTok, there's no reason to, you could literally scroll up. It takes you a
Less
shorter
time.
to disengage than to engage. Or do you go back to see how people are laughing at your comments?
So I think it goes back to what I said in the beginning about, how the media really is impactful and people, and I know we're not saying that, celebrities are raising our kids, because that's not what we're supposed to, that celebrities should not be raising our children, and what they say shouldn't be the norm. Unfortunately, our children have access and we have access to those things. And so monitoring that, right? And so if you from a very young age have been consistently bombarded with a certain type of body being the correct body, you internalize that, right? From internalizing the fact that, oh, this person who is so famous or has these things that I want has really white teeth or has blonde hair or has XYZ. Even when you look at yourself in the mirror and you are perfect, because you're not that ideal, you're going to find something wrong with yourself, right? And so that internalization of whatever it is the issue is, but in this case, fat phobia, of being fat, is always going to haunt you. I mean, I remember I had a friend who lost quite a bit of weight. She lost more than 30, 40 Ks. And immediately when she lost it, her personality changed, right?
Sure.
And now she is a skinny girl and she can be mean and she can... And I was just like, this is such a weird situation. Like, your whole personality is now that you are skinny, right? And you have changed from this person who had this really lovely personality, was outgoing, to your only thing is I can wear really short skirts and not be commented on because I'm no longer fat, right? So that internalization that you were actually not living the life you wanted to live as a fat body. And now that you're a skinny body, you can now do what it is that you always wanted. So I understand your point of the political statement of body positivity, that even in your heaviest weight, you should be okay with that, right? You should be able to... I should be able to wear these shorts that I'm wearing today and walk in town and not feel like, oh, I shouldn't wear this because I am fat.
Yeah.
And not wait for the miracle day when I lose 30 Ks, right? And then I can wear the shorts and nobody's going to comment. Because also clothing looks different on different bodies, right?
That's so true, yeah.
And so I can look perhaps more sexier in a certain thing because I have bigger boobs, and so if somebody who's flat chested wore the same thing, they wouldn't get the comment that I would get because of how my body shows up in that outfit. So I think there's this internalization of, I've always wanted to be skinny, and so now that I'm working towards that, everybody else should do that as well. And everybody should be on the same bandwagon, because how dare you choose to stay skinny? And also, something that I've had to deal with is, how dare you choose not to be skinny, or you are fat and you still find love, or you still find success, or
multiple loves. Multiple.
How dare you do these things, right? When I am looking different and I am looking as the ideal and I cannot find love, I can't get successful, I can't do these things. So what is it about you and like the audacity that you have as a fat person to do these things? And I think that's something that annoys me so much, when somebody's like, oh, you look so good for a fat person. I'm like, no, I just look good. Like, I'm just a pretty person, or I just have a lovely smile. You don't have to quantify it by saying, even though you are fat, just like even though you're dark skinned, even though you are...
Oh, that one.
You're like, no, it's just,
I'm just pretty. Like, just say it like that. Because then you're saying, it's something beside me, like oh my,
it's an integral
like,
part
pretty,
of me,
but you're fat. Like, beside that,
beside your fatness,
pretty.
you're so pretty.
Like,
no, I'm pretty because
with my abundance,
because my face is round, and that is actually what makes me look beautiful, right? I don't know if I would look the same if I had lost 30, 40, whatever many kgs that the doctors say I need to lose for BMI, which is another
problematic,
which is very problematic. And so I understand body positivity in itself. And I've been also struggling equally with body neutrality, right? Because body neutrality kind of says, for those who don't understand that quite well, it's almost like just existing in your body and not really having a worth whether or not how your body looks. That's not your prime focus, which is great. but also, then what happens when you're really happy with it, right? And so I struggle with the neutrality, but I also struggle with the positivity, because it can also be toxic, just like anything can be toxic, right? There's sometimes maybe you and your health professional do talk about some issues that you have, and then you do need to make changes, which I think in some instances are okay, but I mean other instances is not okay, right? I mean, I remember vividly about 2 years ago, I went to the doctor and my hand was sore, and it was because I've been working on the computer for weeks on end, and I was straining my muscles. So I have this consultation with this GP, and right at the end, she's like, "Oh, but don't forget that you're also overweight." And I'm thinking to myself,
Okay.
"My dear, that is not what I am here for.
And
We are here for my hand that is really sore." And she's like trying to imply that if I lost weight, my hand would also be okay. And I'm like, that is not the same thing.
Explain the science.
It's really not the same thing. We're going on to different things. And it's quite funny because later on I discovered that same doctor had done the same thing to like 2 or 3 of my other friends, because she's a local doctor.
Oh gosh.
So we just have labeled her the fat phobic doctor. But I mean, it's important that, I think that body neutrality could really work in spaces such as medical spaces, right? Where a doctor or a healthcare provider doesn't see your fatness as the primary cause of whatever is the issue. They come to you and they assess you as a human being, and then from there they can make comments and assessments, because some things don't have to do with your fatness, right? So I can understand the value of both positivity and neutrality, and I think they have their place. And I think that you don't have to have your firmness in one, and you can exist kind of multifacetedly between both worlds. That might be controversial, I don't know. I think
No, I think you can. I think we should.
I think it has its place. Because body positivity isn't just exclusively for fat people, right? It's also looking at people who are just historically really tiny, right? I've had friends who for the longest time have been trying to gain weight, right? Because equally they're just like, I'm so tiny, I just don't feel like I look good in anything. I feel like I will blow away with the wind.
Because they also experience, would you say, bullying?
100%.
They experience bullying from people saying that, like, oh, you'll just blow away with the wind, you're too skinny. And in Africa, it's like, without curves, are you a woman? Are you sexy? Are you
with the wealth in your family? Because because do they not feed you at home?
Hello. And that also brings us now, when you talk about doctors and the healthcare sector, the rise of GLP-1s.
Yes.
And also, I would like to say gastric bypass. For me, gastric bypass is like something that we learned about. I learned about it when BBC's Lifestyle was still doing its stuff on weight and weight gain and weight loss and stuff. And then it became very popular with Dr. Now and my 600-pound life. And now it's like, if you have a pull on social media and what's that clinic called? Hermes? Whatever they're called.
Heard, yes.
Clinic. If they see you, it's either you're offered a BBL or a gastric sleeve. And I think that is so, especially for like, I think it was, what's her name? Cyan Bougie that had a gastric sleeve. And I'm like, you are under 25. Do you understand what you're doing to your body? And just with all of these, I was listening actually to Oprah's podcast about GLP-1s, and Serena was there. And I thought it was very problematic about how that they were harping on health and how your body is set on survival. And sometimes it won't allow you to lose more weight. And I was like, okay, so it's an aesthetic problem.
Yeah.
If your body's saying this is healthy weight, then your problem is the aesthetic. It's not the weight, because they absolutely can. Your body cannot be getting hypertension if that is your weight, unless if there are other factors like genetic and all of that. And so I think the health situation is just so disingenuous. And you as a person existing in a fat body, like how do you navigate that thing? Because I could have unhealthy in fact I do have unhealthy habits, but people won't say, oh Lerato, what you're doing is so unhealthy.
100%.
But for you,
The moment I pick
just
up a burger, that
just
one
have
day in the
ice
week.
cream. Just hey, why are you eating that? She's so
Unhealthy.
gluttonous, and even how it's even attached to religion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's talk about intermittent fasting. 1 meal a day. What?
There were so many things that I was so confused about. And the thing is, I'm not hating on these things. I understand that some people are deeply unhappy with their bodies, right?
Yeah.
They are deeply, and it's actually impacting their mental health. It's impacting the way that they show up in the world. And they have tried literally everything.
Of course.
Right. And so we need to have grace for people in some sense, but we also need to understand that there are harms to things that people are doing, right? And we need to understand that it's not just about me. How I show up for my nieces and all of those things. So how I navigate it is that I ask questions back to people if they ask me weird things, right? It's like, oh, why you? It's like, oh, why do you do that? You know, it's like, oh, you do this, you do that. I'm like, yeah, sure, I do that. You also equally have unhealthy eating habits. I wish I could also just be like, oh, why would you say that? Would you say that in front of your mom? Would you? But anyway, how I'm navigating it is I am just existing. I think I get a lot of movement in. I have a friend that we walk every Tuesday and Thursday. We do a 5K walk. For the most part, I eat healthy. I mean, bulgur wheat is in excess in my house because I love it so much. And so for me, it is just about me. What makes me feel good? What makes me feel happy? And I think that's important because let's say I do lose weight, right? And I lose 20-30 kilograms. I don't want the narrative to be, oh, I was unhappy with my body and that is why I changed it, right? Because that is not the narrative. Then what happened is I maybe started moving more. I was not unhappy. I was started moving more. I took up a hobby that involves a physical movement and I have lost the weight and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm also equally not going to change my personality to suit the fact that I've lost weight and now I'm considered in a healthy BMI, and this is like very much in inverted commas because BMI and I are not the best of friends because I just think it's such a bad indicator, specifically in the African context.
True.
It's a terrible indicator because how we hold and store fat is completely different from somebody who is not in the African context.
Because also climate matters. Hello.
Bodies matter, right?
Bodies matter.
You have wide hips.
Matter.
It means they're going to fill up with fat, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that you're going to do. And I hate when people are like, oh, how do I just lose weight in my hips? I'm like, baby girl, you're not going to lose weight just in your hips. Like, it's a whole body thing. But anyway, neither here nor there. So how I'm navigating in between is just to continuously be happy with where I am in that current moment and not look at a final goal to say that is when I will be happy. Because if I keep on saying, okay, I will only be happy when I weigh 60 kilograms, then what happens in these 5 years in between before I get to that 60 kilograms? And what extent do I go to get to that 60? And is it a healthy way that I'm doing it? Is it unhealthy? I have a lot of friends. I have another friend who got a sleeve, right? And the sleeve was Staples back in the day. It was a while back. She's had this now for like 10 years and all of that. And like nobody really talks about the long-term effects of those things. And she talks about how her bone density has changed, right? She strictly has to have all of these supplements because if she has half a muffin, she's full.
Oh no.
And so she's not getting enough nutrients to her body because she cannot physically eat anymore.
And
right?
she can't go back and undo it.
100%. And so these are really critical things that we need to think about when we take things like this. When we say, okay, I'm going to go on a diet, and then you lose the weight maybe too quickly. and now you have skin that is now, sagging, and now you have to go in for a surgery to cut off that skin. But is it a maintainable thing for you, or in the next 10 years are you going to be back into this position because you've never interrogated why you've had those bad thoughts about yourself? You are looking at yourself as a skinny person, but you still hate the person that's there because all you see in your head is a fat person. So there's a lot that you have to really think about there when you're going on a weight loss journey, or just any journey, or whatever.
Weight loss journey.
And that was an inverted commas, but whatever it is, I hadn't been on a scale in the past year. So the past year I was like, I'm going to start walking a little bit more. I haven't really changed a lot of my eating habits. And then this morning I was like, I haven't been on a scale in a while. And how I engaged with the scale was completely different to how I engaged with it years ago, right? Where it would be this monitoring thing that I would be doing and excessively weighing myself. And then today I was like, I haven't done this. I'm interested to see how much I weigh, right? Got onto the scale and I was like, I'm surprised. I've actually lost like 4 or 5 Ks since the beginning of last year when I did a health assessment.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that wasn't
intentional.
That was not intentional. It was just because I was moving my body. And because of that, I haven't set this goal that says this is when I'm going to be happy. So I think that's how I'm navigating living in a fat body. Is I'm not setting a goal for myself. I'm just living and being happy at any stage of how I show up. Yeah.
That is so important. And I think it's very important that we actually interrogate those human feelings over the look, because at the end of the day, it is about the human feelings. Because the feeling of being unhappy until you do something, especially as women, it relates to, I'm not happy until I get married.
Yes, until I have children.
Until I have children. Or just in general, the pursuit of your goals, and that you need to be this mogul, and the life is to climb up the corporate ladder, until you're ahead of, you know what I mean? And that's when I'll be happy. I'll only be happy if I have if I wear these name brands, these European name brands. Then that's when I'm at my happiest. Then I have the sign of wealth. When really, sometimes that's not even your portion, babe.
Or you're only going to get that when you're 60, right?
Or you're only going to get that so much later. So why should you wait so long to be happy when you could just live your life and still get there, but you lived a happy, full life? Sure. And then now we've come to what I think is the most important part of the podcast, and that is being courageous enough, being bold enough to say, this is how I want to see the world. And we use our imagination to create the solution that we want to see. Because I think we have to be, when Whitney Houston was saying, I believe the children are the future. We are the future.
We're not children.
We're not children anymore. But we are the kids she was talking about.
100%.
So what should, in the next, if tomorrow you could wake up and the world would be changed, what would it look like, and how would we be speaking about our bodies and what makes us happy?
I am not a linguistic person. So I think some people can come up with words like you did just now.
Sure.
But if we could kind of find a ground between positivity and neutrality, and it was like a word or like a theory or a philosophy that's in between there, where the scales are balanced, that would be where I would aim to go, where we're happy and it's fine, but having negative feelings does not mean you're hating on yourself. So that would be what I would, to say, oh my gosh, I really don't feel like I look good today. That could be hormones. You're PMSing, your period is about to come. You really feel like crap. And that is okay. You're bloated. I'm not expecting somebody to feel positive in that moment. And doing that is being very toxic to that person, to say, yes, even in your worst of worst day, you have to feel no.
You have to feel good. You have to celebrate.
You have to celebrate. Like, you don't have to. So if we can find a ground between people, however your body shows up, you can be positive about it. But if you have moments, and that's the key part, moments of unhappiness, we mustn't demonize those moments, right? Because we're going to have those moments. But when we are in that constant demonization of our bodies, that is where I think we have an issue. So that would be what I would ideally want, to have that neutral ground of being able to be positive, but really deal with negative emotions, because as a society, negative emotions are not great. If you are mad, you're the mad black woman. No.
Hey, you're Peter. At that time, you have a reason
to be mad. You're
Oh
okay.
my
It's fine.
God.
Negative emotions are not always bad.
True.
Negative emotions exist, and a spectrum, just like happy emotions exist. So if we could just rein in and be not toxically positive, but having that neutral ground of being able to, as a human experience, go in a circle and have all the range of emotions and not dwell in these negative emotions, I think we would be in a better space. That's what I would imagine it to be. And then also a bit of more neutrality towards the healthcare workers,
Hey.
where they're not looking to diagnose you with something that you do not have just because you're fat.
Ish. You know what? And you know what you're saying to me right now is just, I think the language in very general ways, it would be just to be human. The philosophy of being human. Because I think that's where we miss it across all the boards, even with like patriarchy and like bioessentialism and stuff. The gap there is humanity. And we need to rid ourselves of these ideas of what it means to be a woman, a man, because it doesn't matter. We all evolve with time. And sometimes you're great, you're doing well. Other times you're not. And that's just okay.
The circle of life.
You know, I think we need to strike a balance and just be, I think neutrality is the easier way.
Yeah.
But it's just to say, even we have a baseline and we'll ebb and
Fluctuates.
flow, you know? And it's completely fine. And we need to talk more about just being a normie. A normie. Oh, language, yeah, social media. It makes me laugh. Just being a normie, because that's, like when you deep it, like just finding a person's humanity, and that's all we use. It gives me chills just thinking about it, actually. Huli, I'm so happy you came.
I'm so excited that you invited me.
Just one last question. Are we seeing a return of the body image series?
Yeah.
I'm literally offering myself as the first person.
Listen, I was going to do a shameless plug when I was...
That's what you're planning. No, you have the full platform.
So I am actually going to return to the body image series. I don't know if it'll be called that or not. I'm still workshopping it. But I definitely want to bring it back, and specifically to new people and new bodies, but more importantly to the people that I've interviewed before 10 years ago, right? Because that's when that was. It's over 10 years ago. And to see how the growth has been for that person who was perhaps 25 when they did this, right? And now that they're 35, have settled into your body, because we know we go through like second puberty sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I'm really, really intrigued. I'm so excited to do this one part of it being the historical people that I've worked with, and then a new part being new bodies, new people, new voices. And I'm very, very excited to do that. So I will definitely be reaching out, and you're gonna write one of my articles. I'm so excited, and having new bodies, and then we'll see where it goes. Yeah,
I'm really excited for that, because I think it's such important work. We're not seeing this. And I remember BBC Lifestyle also had a show like that, where people would, and you'd see them there naked. They'd only show their bum, I think, but it would be on TV, and they would ask them to, reconcile what they feel with their bodies and whatever. So I think it's very important, especially in the South African context, because it will also include slut shaming.
Yes.
And seeing being comfortable naked, being comfortable with your body, and being in tune with that. So where can we catch you? Because I know you have a lot of pages.
I have a lot of pages depending on my different interests, because that's how
I love a woman with different lives. Like, Come on, okay?
But primarily, I think a lot of people will follow me on Huli's hair. I
Yes.
think that's where a lot of people will be. So it's Hulis, HULIS_hair, HAIR. But yeah, that's primarily where I am. And from there, you'll be able to navigate to all the other spaces of my life. So I think
Yes.
primarily if you land there on Instagram, I'm not on X, Twitter anymore because I just
Good for you, babe.
couldn't do
Good
that.
for you. Good for you.
And
I'm still holding on to the goodness of it. I'm like,
And listen, I met amazing people there, but there was a point where I just couldn't anymore. But anyway, neither here nor there. So Instagram is my primary page, and then from there you'll be able to navigate everywhere else.
yeah, and TikTok.
I can't remember what my thing is because I never plug my TikTok.
Hulis. Huli.
I think it's just Hulisani with an underscore.
Maybe.
But I've never plugged my TikTok page.
Yeah.
So
Just search.
just
You'll
search, you'll
find
find me.
Huli, yeah.
But on Instagram, you'll be from there. There's usually links to all of my other social medias.
Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
for this conversation.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
having
from coming from the capital of
From
this country.
Pretoria all the way to Joburg, guys. Joburg is far.
Oh, it's so far. Damn. And you guys can, of course, catch this episode. Well, if you are, it would be on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts as the Ellipsis Podcast. I almost forgot. Damn. And you can, of course, catch it on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok as the Ellipsis Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things that they say. And also you can follow me on... Where can they follow me? X, TikTok, and Instagram as Radical Self Lerato. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I appreciate you so much. And please, if you're going to do a radical act today, it is to use your imagination. Thank you. Bye.
Liberate your imagination. Liberate your imagination. Liberate your imagination. Liberate your imagination.